Hi, good afternoon, teachers and classmates. Today I'm going to talk about tariffs, what they are, and their impact on Mexico. A tariff, also known as a customs duty, is a tax that has been applied to goods when they cross a border. This means that tariffs have been applied to goods every time they enter a country. Tariffs have been increasing the price of goods in the domestic market. They have benefited locally produced goods. Export tariffs almost disappear in most countries. Professor Hernandez places the origin of tariffs in the second millennium BC in Mesopotamia, in the form of tolls or transit duties. However, the first tariff for which there is written evidence was established in Palmyra in 137 AD, when it was part of the Roman Empire. The city was a major trade center that served as a link between the East and the Mediterranean. This tariff consists of a series of written fees that have been charged to merchants who want to enter or move within the territory. Since then, tariffs have been present and have evolved significantly. In 1947, after World War II, the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, GATT, was created. It was the organization that later, in 1995, was renamed the World Trade Organization, WTO. One of the objectives of the GATT and later the WTO has been to establish a common framework among its members and facilitate global tariff-free trade. In July 2025, Donald Trump has reactivated his tariff policy, applying a base tariff of 10% on most imports as part of his trade reciprocity strategy. Additional country-specific tariffs have been imposed, mainly affecting Asian and emerging economies. For example, China faces a 34% tariff, Japan 24%, India 26%, and Vietnam up to 46%. Allied countries such as South Korea 55%, sorry, 25%, Taiwan 32%, and the Philippines 20% are also included. In the case of Brazil, a 50 tariff has been a 50% tariff has been imposed as a political retaliation, while Mexico and Canada face tariffs of 25%, except for energy products, which are subject to a 10% rate. Tariffs are taxes on imports, and the measures that the United States government intends to apply to Mexico will affect Mexicans in several ways. In daily lives, companies may reduce their production, and when that happens, there there are layoffs, fewer jobs, and less income for families, which leads to decreased consumptions. This creates a vicious cycle that can result in an economic recession. Mexico is part of the trade agreement with Canada and the United States, known as the USMCA TECMEC, because the country is part of the this integration, the United States tariffs will put the competitiveness of Mexican companies at risk, according to Valeriano. Learning about topics that may seem specialized help us understand their impact on our finances and become aware of the decision made in Mexico. See you soon.